Hi there, my name's James. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about growing tomato plants. This is a cold greenhouse. I'm in the southwest of UK. Nighttime temperatures of about 3 degrees C. Daytime temperatures in this glasshouse of possibly 35 degrees. So quite extreme range of temperatures, especially this early in the year for tomatoes. But I'm growing two varieties here this year, which are Marmande and Country Taste, both a beefsteak variety. I'm going to grow them as a cordon, so up strings or canes, but supported as a single stem, not a bush variety. I know there's many types of tomatoes, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the beefsteak variety. I know this is early for a lot of people at the moment. Their seedlings are just coming through, maybe seedling leaves or even at a true leaf stage. But I've got ahead of the schedule a little bit just to see how these two varieties put up with the cold nights, and I've got some frost protection by the way of a paraffin heater, but thankfully we haven't had too many frosts and I haven't had to use it. Just show you what stage I'm at the moment so I can talk a little bit about these tomatoes. If you like, they're transplanted to a 3-inch pot stage. The seedling leaves, I hope you can see on the video, are approximately an inch and a quarter, inch and a half from the soil. And when we transplant these into larger pots, their final position, which in this case is a 10-litre pot with perforated holes on the sides filled with a multi-purpose compost. We're going to bury these tomato plants nice and deep down to these seedlings so that this inch and a half of stem or so can develop a new root bowl, send out new roots. It does that quite quickly, and it's important to get a nice good solid root bowl from your tomato plant for future development. So at its first stage, when you transplant them from here to the 10-litre pot, nothing really seems to be happening or developing for a good few weeks, but most certainly underground it will be. It'll be throwing out them new roots, developing a good strong root ball to get them nutrients into the plant to develop some nice rich strong tasting tomatoes, which is what we're all after. This is Country Taste and this is Marmande. The Marmande are putting up a little bit better with the cold nighttime temperatures than the Country Taste, but most certainly both plants are still healthy. A little bit of mottled discolouring of the leaves on the Country Taste, but as I say, it's very cold nighttime temperatures and an extreme range of temperatures with the sun coming out and then the cold evenings. So at this stage, you would have moved your seedlings into a 3-inch pot, which is what this is. I know it's in a tray, but it's a 3-inch pot, and they grow to about this size. Once they start to touch or get close to one another in individual pots, you can separate them a bit, but you don't want them supporting each other, shadowing each other. All they're going to do is become nice and leggy and thin, and what we want to keep is a nice strong short strong stemmed plant. So at this stage now it's time to move them onto larger pots, or certainly divide them up a little bit, and I'm just going to show you that next stage and explain a little more. This is our 10-litre pot with a Marmande plant transferred. This was transferred approximately a week ago, and the seedling leaves are down to the soil level, so we've sunk them in, and it doesn't seem to have moved or grown at all in this last week. I'm sure it's developed a slight amount, but most of the work, as I say, is going on underground. A nice new root bowl. I watered them when I transplanted them. I haven't watered them since. The soil is slightly damp to the touch, but we're certainly not going to waterlog them. We're going to develop that root bowl for a good couple of weeks, so not to overwater them too early. You probably get away with about a first fortnight before they need rewatering, but you need to monitor that depending obviously on temperatures. The Marmande, as I say, is a nice green strong healthy plant putting up with the nighttime temperatures. The Country Taste has a little more mottling on the leaves, so a little bit more susceptible to these cold conditions, but in a month's time or so they'd be absolutely fine, I'm sure. Still a good strong healthy plant, and as this plant develops, these lower leaves will be removed from the stem and I show no worries about that being a problem. Just come round this side. You can see the seedling leaves very close to the soil level. They're down here. And as I say, that's on purpose to grow that nice root ball. I'm not going to support these for 3-4 weeks. I want them to grow individually like trees, nice strong trunks, self-supportive, and we're going to get them off to a good start and not be too keen to get the string on them. I know a lot of people like to support them and they like to see them shoot up in the air, but we're going to hang back for 3 weeks or so before we give them any support. I hope this has been of some benefit to you. I ain't quite sure what else to describe at the moment. We're not feeding them. We won't feed them until they develop trusses with flowers that set into the tomatoes, and at that stage then we're going to start to feed them so them tomatoes can develop. But until that stage, plain water. The multi-purpose compost has got enough food, minerals to get these plants going, and you don't want to like overfeed them at this stage. You want that root ball growing out to develop into a nice strong plant. I'll just pop that back on there. Okay, I hope this has been of some help to you. I've been growing tomatoes for many years, different varieties, Alicante, Moneymaker, traditional greenhouse varieties if you like, outdoor varieties, and this year in particular we're growing in a cold greenhouse. We're growing beefsteak tomatoes, Marmande and Country Taste, and I hope to follow this video up in a month's time to see how we're going. I hope it's been of some help to people. By all means, leave your comments below, good or bad, I don't mind, and maybe I can help you out with the development of your tomatoes at the stage they're at. I hope it's been of some use. I'm not trying to teach your grandmother to suck eggs, so to speak, but just explain a little bit about how us country boys down here in the southwest to grow our tomatoes. Thank you for listening.